Welcome to the Make and Design Podcast. I'm your host, Carina Gardner. On this podcast, we're unraveling the everyday joys and dilemmas of design, making, and business. For makers who want to be designers and for designers who are makers, this is your inside scoop to help you grow your business and bring more creativity to your life. There's a great story that I love by Aesop's Fables, about a turtle and a hare. You guys probably know this story. Maybe if you're younger, you haven't heard the story, but there used to actually be a cartoon, and I can't remember if it was Disney or not. It feels like it was. It's really, really old, and it's this rabbit or hare that's super fast and doing all these crazy things, and a turtle that's like really, really slow. He does I think he comes out of his shell a little bit and gets his legs a little bit faster so that he can win the race. But basically, the moral of the story is that slow and steady wins the race. And so I want to talk a little bit about that today, because I think so many times in this digital age, in this world where we think that we all can make so much money so quickly, I'm here to tell you that the slow and steady win the race, especially in the design world. It's just true. It's just the way it works. And consistently taking those steps forward as the turtle and not trying to race the things and then getting off track is the way that you are going to make money as a profitable designer. That's all there is to it. So let's talk about this a little bit. And I'm kind of referring to this show, which I don't know if it's a Disney show or not. If you know exactly what I'm talking about, you see this rabbit, they start the race together, and he's kind of obnoxious. He kind of throws it in front of the turtle's face that he's faster. He goes and does crazy things. I can't even remember what he does. I don't know if he goes to a hammock, but he gets off the race course and he goes and does some stuff. And then he comes back to the race course. And the whole time the turtle is just slowly, steady, staying on that racetrack until he gets to the very end. And then at the last second, the hare tries to beat the tortoise because he sees that the tortoise is almost to the end, and the hare tries to race him, but the tortoise makes it all the way through. Now, I feel like this is one of those stories you hear about all the time, but I need you to relate it back to design because it is the perfect analogy for the way design is. We talk very often, and you've seen me talk to designers in my program on this podcast about how they're doing, and they're making sales every day, and they're kind of moving forward. That is an important part of the process. But I always tell people to give it at least 3 years. Any good business, any business, not just design, but any business takes a solid 3 years to really kind of find its pacing, find its footing, to know what it is going to do year after year. That's just the way of business. It's the same for design businesses. So if you want to be a designer, you want to own your own products, you want to sell your own products, it's a design business, and it takes time to build. So I always tell people they're not going to make any money in the first year. We do have a lot of our designers make money in the first year, but I always tell people they're not going to. So the expectation is low, because it's like the first 1/3 of the race for the tortoise. You're going slow and you're not seeing any results. In fact, it feels like there's all these hares in front of you, all these rabbits in front of you who are going super fast and you can't catch up. What I have found, and I see this in my own program as well, is that people who are going super fast and they're not paying attention to where they're going, they get distracted really easy. So they're off doing this over here and off doing that over there, instead of the ones who are every day putting in a little bit of effort to get towards their design goals and their design dreams. And there is a big prize at the end of this race, right? And that is a flexible career with steady income that you've worked really hard for. And it's very, very hard. I will say this about my design businesses, okay? It is very hard for those design businesses to start losing money once you get it at a certain point if you maintain it. And most designers in my position are just trying to maintain it. Sometimes they will stop designing altogether. I know I haven't put stuff in several of my shops for the last year because I've been really busy. They all still bring in income. all of them. It's kind of crazy, but it's because you've created steady income. And that's what I really want for you. And that's why the slow and steady win the race, because if you're willing to build products every day, you're willing to list them every day, and you do that over 3 years, 5 years, it is hard for you not to win. And I'm talking about at least a little bit every day. I see people get very sporadic. They'll do stuff, once a week or a couple times a month. That's not the way to win the race. That is the hare's way of winning the race. It's too scattered. It doesn't work. So we have to be more like the tortoise and slowly and surely make it towards that finish line. And that is the power of living this dream of being a designer. If this is something that resonates with you and you want to hear more and you haven't been to a design boot camp, I can't recommend enough coming to a design boot camp. It's just carinagardnercourses.com/design bootcamp. We do it for a week. It's like, you get 10 days to watch the material. The course material is about 5 to 6 hours of strategy and coursework. And then we have a couple of bonus Illustrator videos that will take you another 30 minutes to an hour to do. So those are just bonuses that we keep in there for you. So I can't recommend enough that you go to one of those to understand a little bit more about strategy and how we slowly and steadily really just run this race. And because we do it that way, the algorithm works in our favor. I can't tell you the number of designers who we have a Marco Polo feed who will say oh my gosh, just do what Carina's telling you to do. It works. And they see it working because they've been slow and steady and they understand what needs to be done in order to win this race. So anyway, I hope that you are on that path. Hopefully that this podcast and this YouTube channel is getting you on that path. And I can't wait to see what you are accomplishing. If you have a chance, I would love for you to subscribe to the YouTube channel or leave me a review on the podcast, because both of those things really helps us continue to give you guys great content for free about becoming a designer. Hey, did you know that you can visit me at makeanddesign.com to learn more about this podcast and join my VIP group for weekly freebies? I can't wait to see you there.